Hi, at this point, you probably have already seen the AP120 lecture introduction, and you probably have already seen the AP120 lecture tour of the Canvas shell. And in that one, I told you all about how to get onto Canvas. So if you haven't seen that one yet and you don't know how to get on Canvas, then please go watch the tour of the AP120 lecture shell of Canvas before you watch this one, okay? Because I'm going to assume that you know how to get on. And when you get onto the Canvas lab shell, it's going to look something like this. It's never going to look exactly like this because I have a habit of just like constantly noodling around with it. But these are the basics that you've got when you're on your Canvas lab shell. When it comes to what you need to do every week in lab, remember when we were in real life, every week's lab was 3 hours long. So you should assume that you're going to spend 3 hours just doing all of the lab activities that are required of you for that week's lab. So don't think it's like 15 minutes checking on in. No, there's actually a lot for you to do there. The most important place, just like it was in the lecture shell, is this button right here, Lab Modules. But let me show you before we get there the other things that are available here. Just like in lecture, there is a place you go on McGraw-Hill Connect in order to get access to all of your homework assignments. In lab, there is a place you go on McGraw-Hill Connect to get all of your, not all of your lab assignments, but quite a number of your lab activities. There are two ways to get into those particular activities for the week. One is by going directly to Connect Lab Activities. This particular video is going to be posted down here in introduction and how-to videos, and the one about Proctorio is going to be there too. Lab Quizlets. Once we get to the anatomy part of the course, I have got this online resource called Quizlets that I have set up for you so that you can use your smartphone to just do matching and flashcards and stuff like that. Something that you can do whenever your phone is with you, which is probably all the time, a way for you to study the anatomy material with Quizlet. Your lab syllabus and your lab schedule are also going to be there. Also, the same links to my Zoom office hours are here. They are not different links. They're the same ones that I will be using for the lecture part of the class. So if you want to jump in and ask me a question, you can do it from your lab shell or your lecture shell. So let's go to live. Okay, this is what yours looks a little bit different because I don't have this set up for student. Or do I? Anyway, let's go here to lab modules. That's the most important place that you'll want to go. And your lab modules are going to take you right here. So you can see that right now for lab number 1, you know the concept. You will go to your lab manual that you purchased through the bookstore. You know that these things are due by August 1. And you can see here that you've got a syllabus quiz that's due by August 21, 1 minute before midnight. You can go ahead and take your lab syllabus quiz. The lab syllabus quiz is different from the lecture syllabus quiz. You've got both of them. And then you might say, oh, wait, you know what? Before I do my lab syllabus quiz, I need to print up the lab syllabus because Tydell lets me do open note. So I better print out my lab syllabus. So here you can print out your lab syllabus. Boom. Let's get rid of that. And from here, you can print up the lab syllabus because you cannot use the online resource. All right. Let's see. Here is the lab schedule. Let's look a little bit at the lab schedule. On the lab schedule, you can see that for the first week, everything's due by August 21. The topic is introduction. What does introduction mean? you've got your lab manual. You just go to lab 1 in your lab manual. Everything that's in the lab manual for lab 1, that is fair game for a question on your quiz, which will be at the beginning of your next week's lab. So if you want to know what you need to know for the quiz, it's whatever is in that week's lab in the lab manual. Now, for this first week, there are no McGraw-Hill virtual labs, but there are other Canvas activities, and they're worth 20 points. For my lab, all of the lab activities are worth 20 points. If you do not do them, you don't get those points, right? And the quizzes are worth 100 points. They're only 15 questions, but they're worth 100 points. So you can't get an A in lab if you don't do your lab activities. All right, where was I? We were back here. We did the lab syllabus. Okay, let's make it look like what it looks like for a student. Great, and let's see what the lab modules look like for a student. Okay, here we go. So you can see that by August 21, all of this is due. What is all of this? You've got to get your lab syllabus done. There's no quiz this week. However, at the beginning of the enzyme lab, there will be a quiz that you need to do that will test your mastery of all of the information from this week's lab. You need to do your introductory activity on Connect. I did not know I had one. All right, not sure. This crash course video, I think, is a really good one. So even though it's not required, I think it's a good idea. And then on the weeks that we don't have a Connect lab activity, we will either have a Nearpod activity, usually a Nearpod activity, or sometimes I will just have an activity right through Canvas. So do you need to do it? Is it here? Yes, you need to do it. And if it takes you 3 hours to get it all done, welcome to AP120. That's how long our labs normally are. And by the way, you need to be studying this material even more than what's here. All right. So how do you succeed in AP120? Remember, in lecture, you are going to be using your study guide. You're watching the lecture videos, you're completing your Connect homework, and you're taking your exams by the time that they're due. When are they? They are in the lecture syllabus. Put them in your phones. Make sure that your calendar sends you automatic reminders a few days ahead of time so that you never miss an exam. For the lab, every week you will take a quiz. This week it's just the syllabus quiz. You will watch lab videos and complete all of your lab activities. That is every week. All right? If you get all of that done, then you should be able to do really well in AP120. I guess I got another video to do about how to register for all that McGraw-Hill Connect stuff I've been talking about. Okay, that's the next video.